Hello, it's Arit here. Welcome to another video on the Essetino Artist channel where we share all kinds of videos related to helping you grow your creative business. So in today's video, I have a book review for you today. I'm so excited to be talking about this book. It is called The Storyteller's Secret. Of course, you already know that because you clicked on the title. So this book is by Carmine Gallo, and the subtitle on it is From TED Speakers to Business Legends, Why Some Ideas Catch On and Others Don't. So I think it goes without saying that, spoiler alert, the entire conclusion and mission of this author is to have us communicate more through story. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what the book is about, who I think it's for, who would get the most out of it, as well as, of course, my own opinion on what I think about this book. So in terms of what this book is about and who it's for, I will tell you that I bought this book back in 2016, and I'm only reading it fully now in 2020. So I bought this book back then, and I picked it up because it was recommended to me. I've heard multiple times this book being referenced by a lot of, major speakers and entrepreneurs as well. And so at the time, I started reading this book back in 2016. I started reading it, and I kind of felt like it didn't click with me. I don't know if it was because I didn't feel like I was ready for the information. Maybe I felt like it was a little bit out of my league. Because the thing is, when you start reading into this book, there's a ton of stories. There's the success stories of about 50 icons, legends, entrepreneurs, well-known people like Richard Branson, Oprah, the founder of Starbucks, movie producer or TV show producers like Mark Burnett, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, but then you also have people like Dr. Martin Luther King, Brian Stevenson, and there's a whackload of names. And it's really cool because this book tells each of those stories while at the same time giving you the storyteller's tools or the secret involved. So what made that successful person's story so amazing? What made it so powerful? What was it about that person's story that allowed them to inspire, to ignite a fire in others, to motivate them, to educate them, or to launch full-on movements? And so when I picked up this book back in 2016, I guess for some sort of reason, I was like, I don't have this grand mission to change the world in anything yet. I do now. But, back then it seemed a little bit out of my league. But here's what I didn't realize back then that I know now, and I realize now while reading this book, is that it's not just for revolutionaries. It's not just for, people who launch movements or for really successful TED speakers. This book isn't for, Fortune 500 business executives only. It's not for that type of crowd. It is for all of us content creators, for anybody who is putting out an idea into the world, for anyone who's marketing anything, because when you're marketing something, you're essentially sharing the value in what it is that you or your brand has to offer. And so even if your purpose is just sharing an idea with someone, or you're an entrepreneur, you're a content creator, you're someone who has a side hustle, you have a passion or a business or a brand that you want to grow, this book is super valuable because it allows you to understand the power of telling stories in your marketing. So the author, Carmine Gallo, really, dives into detail about why the brain loves and is hardwired to connect with people who tell stories. He makes the argument that we are all natural born storytellers, and, by a simple narrative, a simple story, that has the power to really inspire change in others and really persuade others to take action. And this change can be tiny change, as simple as getting someone to click on a piece of content, all the way down to creating and launching movements. So what I really realized from this book is the power of storytelling and how, it entirely builds trust. And that is something that I always, strive to do with my content on this channel and in other avenues, is just connect with people, build relationships with people, build that sense of trust, and stories are really the way to do that. So the author has, the book is sectioned off into different purposes, let's say. So he has a whole part on storytellers who ignite our fire. And then part 2, I think, is storytellers who educate. And then there's another one on storytellers who motivate or who launch movements. And within each part, you have separate chapters. And every single chapter starts off with a cool title, such as this. So this says, Conquering Stage Fright to Sell Out Yankee Stadium. There's another one saying, A Coffee King Pours His Heart Out into His Business. So the chapter is essentially opening up or setting the stage for the story that's about to come. Obviously, that coffee one is about Starbucks founder Howard Schultz. And within each chapter, they tell a little bit of the story of that, successful person. And then they go into detail about the storyteller's tools. So what is it about that person's story that really allowed them to create this mega, company like Starbucks, and have so much success come out of it when they started so small. And then as well as the storyteller tools, at the end of every chapter, they talk about the storyteller's secret. So the storyteller's secret really summarizes, again, everything that you've just learned about why that particular story really worked to drive change. So the thing that you'll get out of this, and you'll start to see a pattern, is that every single story has some sort of pattern. And what ties everything together is that absolutely any idea that you are sharing with others can be wrapped up in a story for people to understand and to really connect with. And that in itself is so powerful in driving change. I've personally learned a lot from this book, and I will definitely be incorporating more storytelling in my marketing. What I really like about this book is that it makes its argument about how important storytelling is through the power of stories, and it works in and of itself. The one thing that I would probably like or would have liked to see in the book is maybe at the end of every chapter to have certain prompts that, ask us a question. So to give you an example, one of the chapters in this book really makes the argument that any story that you tell that has kind of like, they set the stage for who the hero is in that story, who the villain is in that story, what challenge the hero has to overcome, and the conclusion, there's like a certain structure to it. So that's what the chapter was all about. And at the end of the chapter, it would be really great to have some sort of prompt that says, what story can you tell about your life or your brand that has the same kind of outline? Who is the hero in your story? Who is the villain in your story? So asking those kinds of questions will allow the reader to apply this information that they just read better, because I think the power of this book is that it needs to be applied. I really do think that this book works best is if it's actually put into practice. But I mean, you can kind of do that yourself. At the end of every chapter, when it ends off with my storyteller's secret and kind of summarizes what I just learned, I will go, for myself, I like to journal on what I just read. So when I journal, I kind of think of, how can I apply this in what I'm working on right now? Another cool thing that I learned is that, a lot of the TED speakers, the really successful TED speakers, they make their presentation mostly with stories. So 80% of their presentation will include stories, different types of stories to, of course, relate back to their argument. And then the rest of the presentation is the data, the facts, the figures, where you normally think that, people would want to see the data, the facts, the figures in the presentations. And people do want to see those things. But the thing is that humans connect more naturally when someone tells a story, the data and the facts can support your argument, but the story should really be the star of a presentation or a speech that you're giving. So that's definitely going to influence the way that I, present. I've been doing more speaking engagements. So I learned a lot about that and incorporating stories into my presentations. So really, for anybody who is, wanting to share an idea with others, if you have your own brand, your own side hustle, your own company, and you want those ideas to grow, then definitely get this book and really get into the power of how to tell great stories. I'm going to put a link to this book, by the way, in the description below, so you could easily just check out the summary, and you can check it out on Amazon. But definitely, if you're wanting to be in a position of influence, if you are an influencer, a content creator, this book is for you. And just know that you don't need to be somebody who is speaking on stages or has a revolutionary purpose or mission in mind. But if you do have that mission, this book will again be super valuable for you as well. So that is it for this video. Once again, if you want to check out this book, I'll have the links in the description below. And if you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.